Ryan had never seen a sky like this. Velora's atmosphere was thick with colors that shifted from deep purple to bright orange as the twin suns moved across the horizon. The air smelled faintly sweet, and a soft wind carried a sound like gentle chimes through the tall, glassy trees. He took a deep breath, feeling both awe and a hint of nervousness. This was not Earth. This was a planet far beyond any map he had studied, and he was one of the first humans to step onto it. The ship's landing had been smooth, but Ryan's heart still raced as he stepped onto the soft, glowing ground. The surface seemed almost alive, reacting to his weight with tiny pulses of light. He adjusted the strap of his pack and looked around. The city in the distance shimmered like crystal towers. Flying vehicles glided silently between the spires. Everything was unfamiliar, yet strangely beautiful. Ryan reminded himself why he was here. His mission was simple in theory: observe, learn, and report on Velora's culture and technology. But in practice, it was far more complicated. The Velorans were known as a proud and secretive people. They had never fully trusted outsiders, and few humans had ever been allowed this close. Ryan had prepared for months, studying their language, their customs, even their gestures. Still, nothing could have prepared him for the feeling of stepping into a world so different from his own. As he walked toward the city, he noticed movement among the glass towers. Small figures floated above the ground, their limbs elongated and elegant. Their skin shimmered in soft pastel shades, and their eyes reflected the twin suns. Ryan had expected aliens to be intimidating or strange in a harsh way, but these beings seemed graceful, almost delicate. He swallowed, hoping they would not see his nervousness. One of the figures approached him. She moved with careful precision, her steps almost gliding across the glowing surface. Her hair was a cascade of silver light, and her eyes, a bright shade of green, seemed to look right through him. Ryan realized she must be one of the Veloran officials. "Human," she said. Her voice was melodic, and each word seemed measured and thoughtful. "You are far from home." Yes," Ryan replied, trying to steady his voice. "I am Ryan. I have come to observe your city and your people." The Veloran studied him quietly. "Observation is permitted, but intrusion is not tolerated. Follow the path, and do not stray." Ryan nodded, grateful for the clear instructions. He followed her silently, his eyes wide as he took in the towering structures and the intricate carvings that decorated every surface. Each building seemed alive, almost like it had grown naturally rather than being built. The colors shifted depending on the angle of the sun, and the light danced across his skin in patterns he had never seen before. As he walked, he noticed other humans in the distance, but they were few. Most visitors did not stay long. Ryan understood why. Velora was beautiful, but it was also intimidating. Every detail seemed designed to remind outsiders of their place. He felt small, but not weak. He also felt a strange excitement. Here, in this alien city, he had the chance to learn and perhaps prove something that no human had before. Suddenly, a sound broke his thoughts. A small creature, no bigger than a rabbit, darted out from between two glowing trees. Its body was transparent, and its inner organs glowed softly in shades of blue and pink. Ryan froze. The creature looked frightened, but it did not run. Instead, it hopped toward him, and he instinctively reached out. The creature paused, sniffed his hand, and then bounded away, disappearing into the trees. Ryan exhaled slowly, laughing quietly to himself. He had expected aliens, not magical animals that glowed like tiny stars. Ahead, the path led to a large plaza where a crowd had gathered. At the center was a tall figure on a raised platform. Her hair was silver, and her green eyes scanned the crowd with a calm intensity. Ryan's heart skipped a beat. He knew immediately that she was not just an official, she was the princess. Saran, the youngest ruler in Valoran history, known for her intelligence and beauty. Ryan's guide stopped at the edge of the plaza. You will wait here. The princess will decide if she wishes to meet you. Ryan nodded, feeling a mixture of fear and anticipation. He glanced at the princess, who was watching him now. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the bustling plaza disappeared. She tilted her head slightly, as if curious about him. In that moment, Ryan realized that this mission would be more than observation. Something about this world and perhaps about this princess would change everything he thought he knew about humans and aliens alike. Ryan stood quietly at the edge of the plaza, feeling the warmth of Velora's twin suns on his skin. The crowd moved around him, a mixture of Velorans and a few humans who had already earned the trust of the city. Every face was calm but alert, as if they were always observing and analyzing. Ryan tried to appear confident, though his heart beat faster than usual. The princess, Saran, descended the steps of the raised platform with careful grace. Her silver hair shimmered in the sunlight, and her green eyes scanned the crowd with a sharp, intelligent gaze. When her eyes met Ryan's again, he felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. He had been trained to handle diplomats, scientists, and military officers, but nothing had prepared him for a princess who seemed to see through him immediately. Saran stopped a few meters away. She raised a hand, and the crowd instinctively stepped back, giving them space. "You are the human visitor," she said, her voice melodic yet commanding. "Tell me, Ryan, why have you come to Velora?" Ryan straightened his posture. "Your Highness, I have come to observe your people and learn about your culture and technology. My goal is to understand, not to interfere." Saran nodded slightly. "Observation is wise. Many outsiders come with intentions that are less honorable. Your words are careful. Your stance is cautious. It seems humans may be more thoughtful than I expected." Ryan blinked, surprised. "Thoughtful?" he asked. "We try to be, though we make mistakes." She tilted her head and gave a small, almost imperceptible smile. "Mistakes are universal. The measure of a being is how they respond to them." For a moment, they simply looked at each other. The plaza around them seemed to blur as Ryan noticed every detail of Saran's face, the delicate structure of her ears, the way her eyes reflected sunlight, the calm confidence she radiated. He realized that this was not a formal greeting or a test. This was a genuine moment of curiosity, and he felt honored to be part of it. Suddenly, a commotion erupted from the side of the plaza. A small Valoran child ran into the path of a hovering transport, too frightened to move. Ryan's instincts took over. He sprinted forward, grabbing the child just before the vehicle passed. The crowd gasped, and Saran's eyes widened with surprise. "You acted quickly," she said, her voice tinged with admiration. "Many of my people would have hesitated." Ryan handed the child to a nearby guardian. "I could not let them get hurt. It was instinct." Saran studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she spoke softly, almost to herself, "Perhaps humans have strengths we do not always see." The crowd had quieted, and all eyes were now on the human and the princess. Ryan felt the weight of their attention, but he focused on Saran's gaze, which held no judgment, only curiosity. It was a feeling he had never experienced with aliens before. "You saved the child without hesitation," Saran said finally. "That is a quality that cannot be taught. Tell me, Ryan, what do humans value most? Ryan thought for a moment. Courage, kindness, and the willingness to take risks for others. We are not perfect, but we try to do what is right. Saran nodded slowly. Interesting. My people admire logic and skill above all. Emotion is often seen as weakness. Yet, you acted from the heart and succeeded. You have given me something to consider. Ryan felt a small smile forming on his lips. Perhaps humans and Velorans can learn from each other. Saran's eyes softened slightly, and for a brief moment, her usual composure seemed to give way to genuine curiosity. Perhaps, she admitted. We shall see if your presence here brings wisdom, or chaos. The crowd began to move again, allowing the plaza to return to normal. Saran turned slightly and gestured for Ryan to follow her to a quieter area. There is more I wish to observe, she said. Walk with me. As they moved, Ryan noticed how naturally she navigated the crowd. She did not rush, yet every movement seemed purposeful. He realized that despite her young age, she carried the weight of responsibility with grace. He felt a strange mixture of admiration and respect. They reached a smaller garden within the palace grounds. Bioluminescent flowers glowed softly along winding paths, and small streams reflected the light of the twin suns. Saran stopped by a pond and looked down at the water. Humans see beauty in simplicity, she said, almost thoughtfully. Velorans see beauty in perfection. Perhaps your way has merit. Ryan followed her gaze and smiled. We find joy in what feels real, not always what is perfect. Saran looked up at him, her eyes locking with his once more. In that moment, Ryan felt a connection he could not explain. It was as if, despite the differences between their worlds, they understood each other in a way no one else could. The princess spoke softly, almost as if sharing a secret. You are unlike any human I have read about or met. Stay observant, Ryan. Your presence here may change more than you realize. Ryan nodded, feeling a mixture of pride and anticipation. He understood that his mission on Velora had just begun, but already, he knew it would be unlike anything he had ever imagined. The next morning, Ryan woke early, feeling both nervous and excited. Today was the day of the Veloran trial, a test that only a few outsiders had ever attempted. It was designed to measure intelligence, creativity, and skill, and it was something that Velorans considered a great honor to complete. Ryan knew that passing it could open doors not only for him but also for humans visiting Velora. Saran met him at the entrance to the trial arena. Her expression was calm, but there was a spark of curiosity in her eyes. Ryan, she said, the trial will not be easy. Many of my people have failed even after years of study. But I believe humans may see solutions differently. That may be your advantage. Ryan nodded, swallowing his nerves. I will do my best, Princess. The arena was vast, shaped like a circle with floating platforms and glowing panels. Strange devices hovered in the air, and soft lights marked the pathways. A large Veloran, taller than any human, stepped forward. The trial begins now. Solve the challenges. Show your intelligence and courage. Only then will you prove yourself. The first task appeared immediately. A series of floating cubes hovered in front of Ryan, each one displaying a different symbol. He realized quickly that this was a puzzle. The symbols seemed to represent energy patterns used in Veloran technology. Many would have tried to memorize them, but Ryan closed his eyes for a moment and thought about their logic. He carefully moved the cubes, connecting patterns that made sense. When he finished, a soft glow indicated that he had solved the puzzle. Saran watched from the edge of the arena, her eyes widening slightly. Humans rarely approached the puzzles this way. Many tried brute force, but Ryan had used reasoning and observation. The second task required physical skill. Platforms rose and fell, some spinning, some moving in unpredictable patterns. Ryan had to reach the center of the arena while avoiding traps. He remembered the small lessons Saran had shared yesterday about patience and timing. With careful steps and quick reflexes, he moved across the floating paths, adjusting his pace and never rushing. When he reached the center, a light flashed, signaling success. The crowd of Velorans murmured in surprise. Outsiders often failed at the trial's physical challenges. Ryan's human adaptability, combined with careful observation, had carried him through. The final task appeared a combination of logic, skill, and decision-making. A holographic map showed a city under threat. Small energy storms moved unpredictably across the city, and Ryan had to redirect protective shields to save the population. The map was complex, the patterns confusing, and time was limited. Ryan paused, studying the flow of energy. He noticed that the storms followed patterns similar to those in nature: waves, spirals, and loops. Using his knowledge of physics and strategy, he calculated the shield's positions and timing. Slowly but steadily, the storms were redirected, and the city on the map remained unharmed. When the final light flashed, the arena was silent for a moment. Then a soft chime rang out, and the Veloran who had overseen the trial stepped forward. "Impossible," he whispered, almost to himself. "The human has completed the trial flawlessly." Saran stepped forward, her green eyes sparkling. She smiled at Ryan, a genuine smile that seemed to light up her face. "You did what many of my people could not. You saw the world differently, and it made all the difference." Ryan felt a rush of pride, but also humility. "I only tried to think carefully and act wisely," he said. "The challenges were impressive." Saran's smile softened. "Impressive is not enough. You showed courage, intelligence, and creativity. You proved that humans may be more capable than many of my people expected." As the crowd began to applaud, Ryan realized that this moment was more than just a test. It was a bridge between two worlds. Humans and Velorans had different strengths, and when combined, they could achieve remarkable things. Later, as they walked away from the arena, Saran spoke quietly to him. "I watched you closely, Ryan. Your mind is sharp, and your heart is steady. You may have changed the way Velorans will see humans from now on." Ryan looked at her, feeling a connection he could not yet explain. "Thank you, Princess. I hope to learn even more about your world and to show that humans can be allies, not just visitors." Saran nodded, her gaze lingering on him. "Perhaps you already are more than a visitor. Perhaps you are the beginning of something new." Ryan felt a mixture of pride and anticipation. The trial had tested his skills, but it had also tested his courage and his ability to think differently. He understood now that Velora was not just a planet to observe. It was a place where humans could make a real difference, where creativity and courage could open doors that had never been opened before. As they left the arena together, the light of the twin suns reflected off the floating towers, creating patterns of color on the ground. Ryan looked at the princess and realized that his journey had only just begun, and that the challenges ahead would be greater and more rewarding than anything he had faced on Earth. The peaceful days after the trial were short-lived. Ryan had begun exploring more of Velora, learning about its technology and culture under Saran's guidance. The city seemed alive with energy, yet Ryan sensed that beneath its beauty, tensions always existed. One afternoon, while walking through the palace gardens, Ryan and Saran noticed a sudden shift in the air. The twin suns seemed dimmer, and the soft hum of the city's energy devices faltered for a moment. Velorans around them paused, their graceful movements slowing as if they sensed danger. Saran's green eyes narrowed. "Something is wrong," she said. "Prepare yourself, Ryan. This may be your first real test on Velora." Before Ryan could respond, a message arrived from the Veloran Council. Their communication devices projected a holographic image of an alien fleet approaching the planet. Unlike the elegant Veloran ships, these vessels were dark, jagged, and menacing. The Council spoke quickly, explaining that a rogue faction had risen in the outer sectors. They believed Velora's openness to humans made the planet weak and intended to take control by force. Ryan's heart raced, but he kept calm. "We can combine your technology with human tactics," he said. "We can use both approaches to defend the planet." Saran studied him closely. "Your strategies are untested in battle, human. But I sense your mind may see possibilities that my people do not. You will work with our commanders." The following hours were filled with preparation. Ryan moved through Velora's command center, observing holographic displays and energy grids. He suggested defensive maneuvers based on his knowledge of strategy and physics. Veloran commanders were skeptical at first, but when Ryan explained his ideas clearly and logically, they began to follow his plans. Saran stayed by his side, offering guidance and support. "You see patterns differently," she said. "That is why you may succeed where others hesitate. Trust yourself, Ryan." As night fell, the rogue fleet entered Velora's orbit. Shadows of jagged ships moved across the glowing city like predators circling prey. The city's defense systems activated, energy shields rising and weapons aligning. Ryan noticed gaps in the formation that the Veloran commanders had overlooked. "Divert the northern shield slightly," Ryan instructed. "And rotate the energy cannons in a zigzag pattern. The fleet will try to exploit any predictable movements." A Veloran officer looked at him nervously. "This is risky." "If it fails," Ryan shook his head. "It will not fail. We must act, or the city will be in danger." Saran placed a hand on his shoulder. "Do what you must, human. I trust your judgment." The battle began. Energy beams lit the sky, clashing with the dark, jagged ships. Ryan's strategy proved effective. By moving shields unpredictably and anticipating the enemy's attacks, they redirected the rogue fleet's weapons back toward their own ships. The Veloran defenders, inspired by his courage and decisiveness, fought with renewed strength. Saran commanded from above the city, observing every movement. She realized that Ryan's presence was more than helpful, it was transformative. His human ingenuity and Veloran technology created a defense stronger than either could have managed alone. During the fiercest part of the battle, a rogue ship broke through the outer defenses and headed toward the palace. Ryan reacted instantly, directing energy beams to intercept the intruder. Saran moved to guide him, adjusting shields to protect critical areas. Together, they coordinated every move, human and Veloran minds working in perfect harmony. The rogue ship was destroyed before it could reach the palace. The remaining fleet, seeing their leader's ship destroyed, retreated. Velora was safe. The city erupted in relief and celebration, though the air was still tense from the close call. Saran descended to Ryan, her silver hair catching the light. "You acted with courage and clarity under pressure," she said softly. "Many of my people would have hesitated. You have earned their respect and mine." Ryan felt both exhaustion and pride. "I only did what I thought was right," he said. But it seems humans and Velorans can achieve more when we work together. Saran's green eyes met his, thoughtful and serious. Yes. Perhaps this is the start of a new era for our people. Humans may not be like us, but they bring strengths we did not expect. You, Ryan, have shown that courage and cleverness are universal. Ryan realized that this moment was more than a victory over an enemy fleet. It was proof that trust, collaboration, and quick thinking could bridge worlds. He looked at Saran and felt a connection deeper than curiosity or admiration. Together, they had defended Velora, and together, they had shown that humans could be more than visitors, they could be allies. As the twin suns rose again over the city, casting long golden light across the towers, Ryan understood that Velora was not only a place of discovery but a place where humans could leave a mark, where courage and ingenuity could change the course of history. The city of Velora was quiet after the battle, but Ryan could feel a new energy in the air. The citizens moved with calm confidence, knowing their leaders and allies had protected them. For Ryan, the day had been exhausting, yet he felt alive in a way he never had on Earth. He had faced danger, relied on his instincts, and found that his efforts made a real difference. Saran invited him to the palace gardens again. The soft glow of the bioluminescent flowers illuminated the paths, and the sound of flowing water made the atmosphere peaceful. Ryan followed her silently, his mind still turning over the events of the battle. He noticed that Saran moved with the same grace as before, but her expression was gentler now, her green eyes reflecting a mix of curiosity and thoughtfulness. "You performed well today, Ryan," Saran said, her voice quiet and sincere. "Your strategies saved many lives. My people have begun to see humans differently because of you." Ryan shook his head modestly. "I only did what I thought was right. But I could not have done it without your guidance. You trusted me." Saran paused by a small pond, looking at the reflection of the twin suns in the water. "Trust is rare," she said softly. "Many of my people would not have believed in an outsider so quickly. Yet, I did. And I am glad I did." Ryan studied her, noticing the slight tension in her shoulders, the way her eyes lingered on him. There was something more behind her words, something unspoken. "Princess, you do not need to thank me," he said. "I feel honored to be here, to help, and to learn from you." She turned to face him fully, her gaze steady. "Ryan, there is something I have not said. Something I do not usually share with anyone." Her voice was soft, almost hesitant. "I have observed many beings, from Velorans to other visitors, but you are different. You think differently, act with courage, and see the world in ways I never imagined. I find myself drawn to you." Ryan felt a sudden warmth in his chest. He had not expected such honesty, yet it felt natural, as if the connection they had formed over the past days was becoming something more. "Saran, he began, but she raised a hand gently. "Do not speak yet," she said. "I only wish to tell you how I feel. My duty requires me to lead, to make decisions for my people, but my heart, it is harder to control. I find that I cannot stay away from you, Ryan. Even when I am focused on my responsibilities, my thoughts are with you." Ryan swallowed, his mind racing, yet he felt calm. "I feel the same," he admitted. "I have been surprised by how much I admire you, Princess. Your strength, your intelligence, and your kindness, they inspire me." Saran's expression softened into a smile that lit her entire face. "Perhaps we are not so different, after all. You act with heart and mind together. That is something I respect deeply." They walked slowly through the garden, speaking less now, letting the quiet beauty of the place fill the spaces between words. Every glance, every small gesture, felt meaningful. Ryan realized that trust and admiration had grown into something more personal, something neither of them had expected but both had quietly hoped for. Later, they stopped by a small bridge over a stream. The water reflected the stars beginning to appear in the Valoran sky. Saran leaned on the railing, looking down at the shimmering surface. "Ryan, I do not know what the future holds," she said, her voice soft. "But I know that I wish to have you near, to learn from you, and to share this world with you." Ryan nodded, feeling a deep sense of connection. "I want the same, Saran. We may come from different worlds, but together, we can face whatever comes next. I will stay by your side, if you will allow me." She looked up at him, her eyes bright and serious. "I will allow it," she said. "Perhaps this is the beginning of something neither of us could have imagined. A bond between human and Valoran, built on trust, respect, and understanding." They stood quietly, side by side, watching the stars emerge over the palace gardens. For Ryan, it was the first time he felt truly at home on Valora. Not because of the city, the technology, or the mission, but because of the connection he shared with Saran. He realized that the battles they faced, the challenges ahead, and even the differences between their worlds could not weaken the bond forming between them. Saran turned slightly to him, her hand brushing lightly against his. "Ryan, stay close. Not just for duty or duty alone, but because we choose to be here together. That is our strength." Ryan smiled, feeling a quiet certainty. "Yes, Saran. Together." And in that moment, the human and the Valoran princess understood that courage and intelligence were not enough to shape the future. Heart, trust, and connection were equally powerful. The bond they had formed would guide them through challenges yet unseen, and perhaps change both their worlds forever. The peace on Valora lasted only a short time. A new warning arrived at the palace, more urgent than any before. A massive fleet of rogue ships, larger and more organized than the last, was heading straight for the planet. The council gathered immediately, discussing strategies and possible defenses. The humans and Velorans had already learned to work together, but this threat required every skill, every mind, and every ounce of courage. Ryan stood with Saran in the command room, studying the holographic displays of the incoming fleet. "They are moving faster than before," he said, tracing the paths of the ships with his fingers. "If we do not act quickly, they could breach the outer defenses in minutes." Saran nodded, her silver hair shimmering under the light. "We must combine human strategy with Valoran technology. Your insight may be the key, Ryan. Will you lead the tactical plan?" Ryan took a deep breath. "Yes. We will divide the fleet into zones. Valoran shields will protect the cities, while human tactics will anticipate enemy movements. We must be unpredictable." The council approved his plan, and Ryan quickly assigned positions to both human and Valoran forces. He moved through the command room with calm authority, explaining each step, coordinating shields, energy cannons, and rapid response teams. Saran observed closely, adding subtle adjustments to optimize defenses. As the rogue fleet entered orbit, the battle began. Energy beams flashed across the sky, casting colored reflections on Valora's towers. The twin suns had set, but the city glowed with its own radiant light. Ryan focused on the patterns of enemy attacks, predicting their movements and redirecting Valoran defenses to intercept them. Saran commanded the central shields from above the city, her green eyes tracking every attack. "Ryan, the eastern sector is vulnerable," she shouted. Ryan reacted instantly, adjusting energy fields and redirecting cannon fire. The rogue ships struggled to find weak points, but Ryan's quick thinking kept them off balance. "Keep moving the shields in a staggered pattern," he instructed. "They cannot predict our defense if it keeps changing." For hours, the battle raged. The rogue fleet unleashed new weapons and attempted clever maneuvers, but every time, Ryan and Saran adapted. The Valoran forces followed their instructions with precision, inspired by the humans' courage and the princess's leadership. During the fiercest moment of the battle, a massive rogue ship broke through the outer shields, heading toward the city's power core. Ryan and Saran acted immediately. "We need to combine energy cannons and defensive shields," Ryan shouted. Saran adjusted the central shield with rapid precision, creating a moving barrier to redirect the rogue ship. Ryan targeted the energy cannons at weak points in the ship's hull. The two forces worked in perfect coordination, human ingenuity and Valoran technology blending seamlessly. The rogue ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, and the remaining fleet hesitated. Seeing their leader destroyed, the other ships faltered and began retreating. The city of Valora was safe once more. As silence fell over the battlefield, Ryan and Saran stood together, watching the retreating ships disappear into space. Saran's chest rose and fell as she exhaled, relief shining in her eyes. "You did it, Ryan. We did it together." Ryan smiled, though he was still catching his breath. "No, Princess. You led as much as I did. Your decisions guided every step. Without you, this city would not be safe." Saran stepped closer, her expression softening. "Perhaps this is the lesson our people needed. Courage, intelligence, and cooperation are stronger than any weapon. You have shown me, Ryan, that humans and Velorans together can overcome even the greatest threats." Ryan looked at her, noticing the quiet admiration and trust in her gaze. "And you have shown me that leadership is not just about power, but about responsibility and care. I have learned much from you." For a moment, they simply stood side by side, letting the calm of the city wash over them. The battle had tested their skills, their courage, and their ability to trust one another. In the end, they had succeeded because they had worked together, blending human unpredictability with Valoran precision. Saran's hand brushed lightly against his, a gesture of shared triumph and connection. "Ryan," she said softly, "today, we were more than allies. We were a team, and perhaps something even greater." Ryan nodded, feeling a deep sense of pride and belonging. "Yes, Princess. Together, we can face anything." Humans and Velorans, side by side. As the first light of the twin suns began to rise, casting long golden beams across the city, Ryan realized that Valora was no longer just a mission or a challenge. It was a place where he could make a difference, where courage, intelligence, and heart could change the course of history. And at his side was Saran, the princess who had trusted him, who had fought beside him, and who had begun to show him that bonds between worlds could be as strong as any shield or weapon. The sun rose slowly over Valora, painting the city in golden and purple hues. The twin suns reflected off the crystal towers, creating a dazzling display of light. After the intense battle, the city felt peaceful once more. The citizens moved through the streets with calm purpose, their steps confident and proud. The threat had been defeated, and the alliance between humans and Velorans had proven stronger than anyone had imagined. Ryan walked beside Saran through the palace gardens. The soft glow of the bioluminescent flowers gave the paths a gentle warmth. Birds with shining feathers sang quietly, as if celebrating the victory. Ryan felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. The past days had tested him in ways he had never expected, yet he had grown stronger, wiser, and closer to the princess than he had ever thought possible. "You have done more than any human could have dreamed," Saran said, her green eyes shining. "Your courage, your mind, and your heart have earned the respect of Velora. I am proud of you." Ryan smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. "I only tried to help, Princess. But being here, with you, has taught me more than I could have learned anywhere else." Saran paused at the edge of a small pond. The water reflected the suns as they rose higher, and the surface shimmered with gentle ripples. "Ryan, the Council has decided to welcome humans as allies. Your presence has shown that we can trust each other, that we can share knowledge and strength. This is a new beginning for our worlds." Ryan looked at her, excitement and hope filling him. "That is incredible. Humans and Velorans working together, we can achieve so much more than we ever imagined." Saran smiled softly. "Yes. And perhaps this is only the start. Together, we can face challenges that neither of our peoples could face alone." For a while, they walked in silence, enjoying the beauty of the gardens. Ryan noticed the calm determination in Saran, a sense of responsibility that never left her, yet now softened by trust and understanding. She had grown to rely on him, and he had grown to admire her strength and wisdom. "You know, Ryan," Saran said after a moment, "I had never expected to feel this way about a human. But your courage, your heart, your willingness to act for the greater good, it has changed me." Ryan took a deep breath, feeling the words he had been holding inside. "Saran, I have never met anyone like you. You inspire me, challenge me, and make me want to be better. I want to be by your side, not just as an ally, but as someone you can trust completely." Saran's green eyes softened, and for the first time, she allowed herself to smile freely, without concern for protocol or duty. "Then we will face the future together, Ryan. Human and Veloran, united not just by circumstance, but by choice." The palace guards and council members had gathered nearby, observing the two. Their expressions reflected surprise, but also approval. The bond between Ryan and Saran was no longer private, it was a symbol of what cooperation and understanding could achieve. Humans and Velorans would no longer see each other as strangers or rivals, but as partners in a new era. Ryan looked out over the city, the glowing towers, the floating vehicles, and the peaceful streets. "This city, this planet, it feels like home now," he said quietly. "Not because it is mine, but because it is a place where humans and Velorans can stand together." Saran placed her hand gently on his. "And it will be, Ryan. We have proven that differences do not divide us. They can make us stronger. Together, we will guide our people to a future built on trust, courage, and wisdom." The twin suns rose higher, filling the sky with warm light. Ryan felt a deep sense of purpose and belonging. He had come to Velora as an observer, a visitor from a distant world. But now, he was part of something greater. He was a bridge between humans and Velorans, a symbol of unity and hope. Saran squeezed his hand gently. "Ryan, stay with me. Help me lead, not just with your mind, but with your heart. The future of Velora and perhaps other worlds depends on the courage to trust and the strength to act together." Ryan smiled, his eyes meeting hers. "I will stay, Princess. I will stand by your side. Together, we can face whatever comes next, and build a world stronger than any one of us could create alone." They stood together, looking over the city, the twin suns shining down. In that moment, the human and the Veloran princess knew that the challenges they faced had only made their bond stronger. They had fought together, learned from each other, and grown to trust each other completely. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, it felt full of hope, courage, and endless possibilities. Valora had survived, and in doing so, it had created a new beginning, a future where humans and Velorans could walk side by side, united by respect, trust, and a shared vision of what their worlds could become. And at the heart of that future, Ryan and Saran stood together, ready to face whatever adventures awaited them next.